Welcome learners in the tutorial of week 11, Introduction to Herbal Industry. So, like earlier tutorial, we will discuss the assignment questions. So, first question in the week 11 assignment, according to World Health Organization, that is WHO, traditional herbal medicines are option A, fully synthetic drugs, option B, highly processed plant extracts, option C, naturally occurring plants derived substances with minimal processing, and option D, only laboratory prepared formulations. Now, traditional herbal medicines are used most of the time in their natural forms. So, synthetic drugs cannot be the correct answer. Only laboratory prepared formulations also not the correct approach towards the problem statement. Highly processed plant extract. Plant extracts can be considered as the traditional herbal medicine, but when we use the term highly processed, that means they are having a lot of processing part for the market, hence that not also considered as a correct answer. So, naturally occurring plant derived substances with a minimal processing is a correct option. The most important characteristics responsible for popularity of herbal medicine is high potency, minimal side effects, rapid action and high bioavailability. Now, herbal medicines nowadays people use for the different purpose, and every herbal medicine do have their biological activity. When we compare with a synthetic or allopathic medicine, herbal medicine gains some advantage over those, and those advantage are mainly about their side effects. Many times we came across the evidences where herbal drugs and use of herbal drugs in the formulation reduces all the severe side effects which are given by the synthetic and allopathic medicine. Apart from that, their pharmacological activity nowadays also comes at a similar or at a par on its quantification. Hence, the high potency cannot be the correct answer. Rapid action, again rapid action, the comparing the rapidity of the action with the synthetic, they are not that faster, and bioavailability is restricted in many cases of the herbal drugs. So, correct option is minimal side effect. Which of the following drug source pair is correctly matched? Now, options are given. Option A, aspirin, Cinchona. Option B, morphine, Foxglove. Option C, quinine, Cinchona bark, and option D, digitoxin, Jobarandi. Now, we will look at the phytoconstituents or the marker compound, and based on that we will try to solve this problem. Aspirin. Now, aspirin is a name of a drug, but it is a acylated salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is majorly found in a wintergreen leaves. Quinine is found in a cinchona bark. Morphine is found in a opium latex, and digitoxin found in a foxglove leaf. So, looking at this, option C, quinine and cinchona bark is a correct answer. Early knowledge of medicinal plants was transmitted through option A, printed books, option B, digital media, option C, oral traditions, and option D, laboratory records. Now, early knowledge, we are here addressing a knowledge which is gathered from the traditional medicine. The oldest traditional medicine in the Indian history is considered to be Ayurveda. Ayurveda, of which evidences are 5000 years back, but those are the documented evidences, and Ayurveda is practiced much before that. So, before that documented evidences, how it could be a practice, that is the way by using their traditional knowledge assimilation system through the Veda or Vedas. Now, Atharvaveda is in which you can find out the roots of a Ayurveda, and Atharvaveda is a written material where you can find they are discussing about the different components of the nature for the treatment of the ailment. Later on, the extracts from the Atharvaveda was used, and then they have established in the form of a Ayurveda. But Atharvaveda is documented in much later on, but initially it was used through their verbal oral translation, and that is why option C, oral traditions, is a correct answer. According to World Health Organization, global dependence on herbal medicine is approximately, now this is something which is a specific data. So, before answering this, we just look at the options: 40%, 60%, 80% and 95%. Now, we will see the correct answer. The correct answer is 80%. I also given a quote for this answer statement. It is estimated that up to 4 billion people, which is representing 80% of the world population living in the developing world, rely on herbal medicinal products as a primary source of a health care and traditional medicine practice. Mentioned in the literature by Mukherjee in 2002, Mukherjee and et al. By 2002, Bodekar et al. At 2005 and Bandarnaike 2006, and this is referred in the given text reference which is listed below. So, you can check, it is available in the public domain. India's medicinal plant sector is primarily based on traditional system like allopathy only, homeopathy only, Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani and biotechnology. Now, before answering this, we need to know which are our traditional systems. If we see the roots of the treatment for different ailment, all those will lead to the three major systems. First is Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani. These are our own traditional system which are developed in the Indian territory itself. Homeopathy system of medicine is inspired by the Greek system of medicine, which is taken up by the Persians when they have invaded in Indian territory, and then through the trade it was used by the population. Allopathy system is a recent system which is developed, have no direct roots attached to the traditional system, and biotechnology is an application system. So, the correct answer is Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani, out of which Ayurveda is used as a Hindu traditional system, Siddha is a Dravidian traditional system and Unani is a Arabian traditional system. The concept of loan license in ASU drug manufacturing allows export of drugs. Option B, use of another manufacturer facility. Option C, sell without license, and option D, import of raw material. Now we look at the correct answer. The correct answer is use of another's manufacturer facility. A loan license in Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani is a legal authorization through form 25E. We need to submit this form to the authority, allowing a manufacturer to produce their product using another licensed manufacturer facility. It is ideal for brand owner without their own manufacturing unit regulated under the rule 153A and 154A of the Drug and Cosmetics Act 1940. Variability in herbal law. Variability in herbal raw material is mainly due to option A, synthetic processing. Now we are talking about the herbal medicine. In herbal medicine, the raw material also from the herbal source. So there is no scope for using synthetic processes for getting or processing a herbal raw material. Geographic and environmental differences. Now during our regular lecture, we have also discussed that amla which is taken from the southern region and amla which is taken from the northern region have a different parameters, chemical parameters, and because of that they also vary in their sensory parameters like their taste and appearance. So geographical and environmental differences could be one of the reason for variability in herbal raw material. Packaging method. Yes, packaging method also can contribute in the variability, but it is not always, and if it do, the impact is minimum. Marketing strategies have no link with the variability in herbal raw material. The correct answer is geographic and environmental differences. A key limitation in Indian herbal research is option A, poor documentation and global visibility. Option B, lack of traditional knowledge. Option C, lack of plant species, and option D, excess funding. Now we will try to eliminate the wrong statements or wrong option. Option D, excess funding. How could be excess funding lead to a limitation? If you have a good excess funding, the good research can be taken up and that will give a boost to the research. So option D is not a correct answer. Lack of plant species. India is a full of biodiversity and we have lot of varieties available. There are n number of varieties which are not yet revealed with their potential activities. So lack of plant species also not the option or correct option for the problem statement. Lack of traditional knowledge. Now there are lot of knowledge available and nowadays that knowledge also getting registered under the TKDL, that is Traditional Knowledge Digital Library. So this knowledge is now in my public domain and it is helping for the research. So again this is not the correct answer. So only correct answer is poor documentation and global visibility, because many of the knowledge as we have already discussed is still with the natives and tribals or maybe locally available and not disseminated in the different parts of the country, because of that the visibility is less for the particular knowledge and that is why it is not in the research. Schedule T is a part of option A, Indian Penal Code, option B, Drug and Cosmetics Rule 1945, option C, Pharmacy Act 1948 and option D NDPS Act. So, the correct answer is Drug and Cosmetics Rule 1945. Now, we will just put up a light on the Pharmacy Act 1948. It is regulate the profession and practice of pharmacy. The Indian Penal Code IPC enacted in the Indian Penal Code IPC enacted in 1860 is primarily for the criminal code of India, and the NDPS Act, that is the Narcotic Drug and Psychotropic Substances Act 1985, commonly referred to the NDPS Act for the narcotic substances. So, looking at that, only Schedule T which talk about the GMP guidelines for the ASU medicine is come under the Drug and Cosmetics Rule 1945 and Drug and Cosmetics Act 1940. The main objective of GMP to ensure high profit, product marketing, export promotion, safety, efficacy and quality medicine. Now, in many questions we have came across these options, and the right option in most of them is a safety, efficacy and quality of medicine. That is the main purpose behind the putting up the regulations in all the type of products, be it is a ASU medicine or herbal medicine or allopathic medicine or any traditional medicine. The safety, efficacy, quality of a medicine is a topmost priority for the regulatory bodies. The high profit, product marketing and export promotion are the secondary reasons for the regulation. So, correct answer is safety, efficacy and quality of the medicine. GMP provides. Now, GMP means good manufacturing practices. Here we are talking about the good manufacturing practices for ASU medicine, that is Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani medicine. For that, Schedule T is there under the Drug and Cosmetics Act 1940 and Rule 1945. So, guiding the principle with the flexibility, rigid procedures only, fixed manufacturing formulas and no regulations. Looking at these statements, now they are not directly linking with the manufacturing practices, but if you look at the option, the guideline principles with the flexibility, that means what? The GMP provides the guidelines which are flexible and for the making a baseline for the most of the product quality maintenance. So, option A, that is a guideline principle with the flexibility, is the correct answer. Rigid procedure cannot be the guidelines, fixed manufacturing formula which is not possible in case of a herbal drug industry, and no regulation is out of question. So, guiding principle with the flexibility is the correct answer. Which of the following is exempted from the GMP provision? Option A, pharmaceutical companies. Option B, registered practitioners preparing medicine for their own patients. Option C, export units, and option D, wholesale distributor. Now, this is where if you try to eliminate the wrong answer, option A, pharmaceutical company, with the first you can eliminate by using the logic that this is a law for the large scale manufacturing. Hence, pharmaceutical companies cannot exempted from the GMP provision. Export unit. Exports units are those where they produce the formulation for the export quality products and those getting exported outside the country. Without a regulation, you cannot sell such product outside the Indian territory. So, regulations will be there and GMP has to be there. Hence, again that not be the correct answer. Option B, registered practitioners preparing medicine for their own patient and wholesale distributor, out of which the registered practitioner preparing the medicine for their own patient is the correct answer. wholesale drug distributor must follow good distribution practices, which is the part of a GMP framework. Hence, they cannot be exempted from the GMP framework. So, the correct answer is the registered practitioners preparing their medicine for their own patients, where they are doing this on a smaller scale and they do not need to follow the GMP guidelines. Which of the following is a key function of a drug inspector? Option A, marketing herbal drugs. Option B, fixing prices for the drugs. Option C, inspecting manufacturing premises for GMP compliance, and option D, conducting clinical trials. Now, after this, marketing herbal drugs is not the function of a inspector or drug inspector. Fixing price of a drug, for that we have a authority like a CDSCO, or in ASU medicine we have a Ministry of Ayush. Conducting clinical trials is a role of clinical trials regulators and clinical trials executives. So, again drug inspector are not used for that, and then the inspecting manufacturing premises of a GMP compliance, that is the correct answer for the given question. Validation in GMP refers to, now here we are talking about the validation. What mean by validation? Validation means if particular manufacturing process is used for the preparation of particular formulation, then that every step of that procedure need to be standardized with the help of some parameters, and those parameters along with the standardization procedure is called as a validation. So, validation in the GMP refers to marketing approval. Now, we are here talking about the manufacturing processes, we are not talking about the marketing policies. So, that is not the correct answer. Cost reduction, yes, cost reduction may be one of the approach and the objective behind the validation, but not the sole objective behind the validation of the manufacturing processes. Hence, again that not be the correct option. Labeling, it is completely out of the scope of the validation of a GMP. So, ensuring reproducibility of a processes which maintain the standardized procedure and the outcome and quality of the product, because that the quality will maintain. Hence, ensuring reproducibility of processes is the aspect of validation in GMP. Batch manufacturing records are essential for. Now, what is batch manufacturing record? Whenever there any formulation being produced in the factory premises, then from the weighing of a raw material up to its movement on a shelf for a dispatchment, everything is recorded, and that is called a batch record or a BMR, batch manufacturing record. So, every stage its procedure and their outcome with the time stamp, and then the quality measures, everything will be reported in the BMR, that is a batch manufacturing record. Hence, it is very essential document from the regulatory aspect. Now, what is the use of this record? Is it used for the advertising? No, because advertising is something of a promotional activity which do not require the manufacturing records. Pricing, again pricing is taken up much before the manufacturing of the batch for market, and it is maintained, the pricing maintained for all the batches. Hence, again BMR is not required for the pricing. Packaging, packaging is a one of the part of a batch manufacturing. So, it cannot be detached from the manufacturing processes. So, final traceability, yes, the traceability is a correct answer, where we can trace back each stage of the formulation, and we also can evaluate with the help of parameters, and that is why it is used for the traceability, which is a correct answer. The legal basis for GMP in ASU medicine is provided under Rule 155, Rule 156, Rule 157 and Rule 158. Now, to answer this, we should know all these rule statements, what they are up to. So, Rule 155, loan license for ASU, that means they give the guidelines for using the facility for manufacturing of someone else for manufacturing of your product, that is called loan licensing. Then Rule 156, duration of license, what should be the duration of this licensing property or facility, 4 year, 3 year, 5 year, as per the regulation, particular facility, how long you can use for the formulation of particular product, that will be mentioned in Rule 156. Rule 157, GMP requirements, the good manufacturing requirements, the facility infrastructure, manpower requirement, qualification of manpower, then waste management, water management, all these thing will be combined discussed in Rule 157. And Rule 158, application for manufacture, when you put up that application to the authority, in which format it is to be put up to the authority will be discussed in 158. So, for the legal basis for GMP in ASU medicine is provided under Rule 157, which is the GMP requirements for ASU medicine. Compliance with Schedule T is option A, mandatory for licensed manufacturer, option B, only for the exporters, option C, it is optional, and option D, only for the large industries. Now, Schedule T under the Drug and Cosmetics Act 1940, Rule 1940A5 is responsible for the guidelines of manufacturing facility under the ASU medicine, and that is mandatory for all the formulator and manufacturer and which who are producing the products for the Indian territory inside the Indian for the Indian territory. Hence, the option A will be the correct answer. Export, for export they need to follow the GMP guidelines for the country where they are going to market the product. Optional, it cannot be optional, it has to be maintained. Hence, option C is not the correct answer. Only for the large industries. See, the large and small scale industry is a labeling parameter made by the government to segregate the sectors or the segmental units. Hence, cannot be used only for the large or the small kind of units. So, these are common for all the units who are manufacturing ASU medicine. So, option A, mandatory for licensed manufacturer, is the correct answer. Manufacturing license for ASU drug must be obtained. Now, manufacturing license, now in earlier question only we discussed that licensing manufacturer, so they need to have a license. So, how to obtain that license of for manufacturing? So, once for all unit, that means if a particular manufacturer have unit one in the Mumbai, another in Pune, one in Raigad, then he can apply one application for all units. Option B, for each manufacturing premises separately. So, you will apply separately for the Mumbai, separately for Pune and separately for Raigad, or only for export unit. So, out of these three, if the your manufacturer using only Pune unit for the exporting products, then only for that need to apply, and only for large scale industry. So, it is only for those who are producing in a one batch in a quantity of 500 kg and above, which considered to be the large scale industry. So, when you look at this, the correct answer is for each manufacturing premises separately will be the correct answer. So, we cannot have the a blanket application for all the premises or all the facility. There should be separate application for each and every facility, and they cannot only use for the export facility, they need to have for all the facilities which are producing those product which are getting sold in Indian territory as well as outside the Indian territory. So, for that they need to apply via the e-Aushadhi portal, which is government portal, and on that this portal is the state specific. So, if the facility in Maharashtra, they need to apply through the e-Aushadhi of Maharashtra portal. If the facility is available in Andhra Pradesh, need to apply through that Andhra Pradesh portal. So, they need to get the license to those online portal. Thank you.